I received a phone call from my doctor. Just one call that shattered my 38-year happy marriage. The doctor whispered, "Your blood test results reveal something impossible to believe." I was stunned, almost paralyzed with shock. When I finally uncovered the truth, I realized my family saw me as nothing more than a powerless old man, easy to manipulate, easy to erase. But they miscalculated. They didn't know I would meticulously plan my revenge and remove them from my life one calculated move at a time. I'm incredibly grateful you're here with me on this journey. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where in the world are you watching from right now? Drop a comment and let's connect. Quick note, this is a fictional story crafted for entertainment and reflection. While inspired by common life experiences, names, events, and details have been dramatized for storytelling impact. The lessons, however, remain deeply meaningful. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead in that clinical way that makes the silence feel heavier. I'd been coming to Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center for annual physicals for 20 years. At 63, I felt like I was winning at life. No medications, still running my HVS business, still out driving the younger guys on the golf course. Dr. Patterson walked in carrying a manila folder like it held the secrets of the universe. He didn't sit, he hovered. "David," he said, and the tone of his voice made my stomach drop before he even opened the file. "Your blood work came back, and there's something we need to discuss," I tried to joke. "Cholesterol finally catch up to the bacon?" He didn't laugh. "Your heart and kidneys are perfect, David, but there's a discrepancy. Every record we have for you since the 80s lists you as O positive. But this test? It says you are AB negative." I shrugged. "So, someone made a typo 30 years ago. Does it matter?" Patterson leaned in, his face turning into a mask of clinical pity. "AB negative is rare, David. Only 1% of the population. But the issue is genetic. You have two children, right? Sarah and Michael?" "Yes," I said, my heart starting to drum against my ribs. "Sarah's 28. Michael's 25. What does this have to do with them?" "Do you know their blood types?" "O positive," I said instantly. I remember when Sarah donated blood in high school. Michael, too. He had stitches once, and the nurse mentioned it matched mine. Patterson's silence was a vacuum. "David, if you are AB negative, it is genetically impossible for you to have children with O positive blood. An AB parent physically cannot pass on the O allele required for that blood type." The room started to spin. The words were English, but they sounded like a foreign language. I let out a sharp, hollow laugh. "That's... No. Labs screw up. You guys swap vials, right?" "I thought that too," Patterson said softly. "So I ran it again. A different lab. The result is the same. David, you should prepare yourself. Someone has been lying to you for a very long time." I drove home through a gray Portland drizzle, the wipers scraping a rhythm that sounded like, "Not yours, not yours, not yours." Cedar Hills looked the same. The manicured lawns, the craftsman homes. Our house sat at the end of the road, the house I'd bought in '95 when the business finally took off. Jennifer's Lexus was in the driveway. Through the kitchen window I could see her moving, my wife of 38 years. I sat in the truck for 5 minutes, my hands white-knuckled on the wheel. How do you walk inside and say, "Hey honey, turns out I'm not the father of our children. What's for dinner?" When I walked in, Jennifer smiled, that warm, auburn-haired woman I'd met at Portland State in 1985. "How was the doctor? Did he tell you to stop eating bacon?" "Clean bill of health," I lied. The words felt like lead in my mouth. "Everything's fine." "Wonderful," she kissed my cheek. She smelled like Chanel and home. "Sarah called. She and Marcus want to come for dinner Sunday." Sarah. My little girl. The one I taught to ride a bike. The one whose college tuition I paid in full. "O positive, Sarah." "Sure," I said. "That's fine." The next week was a blur of shadows. I went back to Patterson and demanded my full history. He'd pulled files from storage dating back to 1987. There it was, every insurance form, every surgical consent, even a donor card from 1989. All listed me as O positive. "Someone changed your records, David," Patterson said. "And they did it comprehensively. Someone with medical access." My mind went to Carol, Jennifer's sister. She'd been a nurse at Legacy Emmanuel for 26 years. She'd been there for both births. She'd always helped us navigate the hospital system. "I need copies of everything," I told him. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. It was colder, sharper. That night, I watched Jennifer sleep. For the first time in nearly 4 decades, I felt like I was sleeping next to a stranger. I studied her face in the glow of the digital clock. 2:47 a.m. Blood doesn't lie, but the woman I loved apparently did. I ordered the DNA kits 3 days later. I felt like a criminal, clearing my browser history in my office at Thompson HVAC. I paid with a private card and had them sent in a discreet cardboard box. Sunday dinner arrived. Sarah and Marcus were talking about trying for a baby. Sarah looked at Jennifer with such adoration, and it made my chest physically ache. While they were cleaning up, I slipped into the guest bathroom. Sarah had left her hairbrush. I pulled several auburn strands and sealed them in an envelope. Michael came by later to borrow my truck. I grabbed his toothbrush from the guest cabinet. I mailed the samples on March 27th. 10 days of waiting. 10 days of sitting across from Jennifer, pretending the world wasn't burning. Sleep was a memory. At 1:47 a.m. on the 29th, I went into the attic. It smelled of dust and old insulation. I found a shoebox tucked behind the Christmas bins. Plain brown, no label. I opened it. The letters were bound by a rubber band that crumbled at my touch. The handwriting was angular, masculine. The first one was dated April 1996. "Jay, I can't stop thinking about last night. Knowing David is at that convention in Seattle makes this both safer and more dangerous. I know we said we'd stop after the wedding, but I can't. Next month my play's 7 p.m. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the paper. I unfolded the next one. September 1996. I can't wait to meet our daughter next month. I wish I could be there officially, not just as the physician on call. I'll take care of the records, the birth certificate, all of it. Carol has been invaluable. No one will ever know." Letter after letter. Stolen afternoons. A letter from 1999. "Our son will be perfect just like Sarah. Another boy for me, even if David thinks he's the father. Strange, isn't it? I'm helping him raise my own children." The letters were signed by Brian. Brian Caldwell. My best friend since 1992. My best man at our vow renewal. The doctor who delivered my children. A letter from 2010 made me want to vomit. Ran into David at Kells yesterday. He bought me a Guinness. Went on about how Michael made honor roll. He said, "We did something right, Brian." I nodded and smiled and felt like the worst bastard alive, but not bad enough to stop. I photographed every single page, every date, every signature. I thought about Sarah's wedding, walking her down the aisle while she whispered that I was the best dad ever. I thought about teaching Michael to ride a bike. Every memory now had an asterisk next to it. I sat on that dusty attic floor until the sun came up. I wasn't just a cuckold, I was a bank account, a business asset. I hired Rick Sullivan, a private investigator and ex-cop. For $300 under the table, he got me security footage from the Heathman Hotel. It showed my wife, my best friend, and my 2 children entering room 517 on March 29th. They were meeting. Rick even got audio from a parabolic mic in the next room. I sat in his office and listened to my son's voice. "So what?" Michael was saying. "Even if he found something, he can't prove it. We're his kids on paper. That's legal documentation." "Michael's right," Sarah's voice followed. "Any DNA test would need our consent. We're adults. And what's he going to do? Contest paternity of grown children?" Then came Jennifer. He might try to sell Thompson HVAC out of spite. Liquidate everything before we establish a claim. Your claim? Brian's voice sounded nervous. Jesus, Michael, that's David you're talking about. David is a business asset we've been managing for decades, Michael snapped. If he's becoming a liability, we need to secure our position. Mom, call that elder law attorney. We need to see if we can have him declared mentally unfit to manage his affairs. I played that back 17 times. A business asset. My own children, or the children I raised, were planning to lock me in a nursing home to protect their inheritance. Loneliness makes dangerous choices feel reasonable, but desire whispers louder than guilt. I called Brian and asked him for our usual beers at Kells. I needed his DNA to make it courtroom-proof. We talked basketball and business. When he went to the restroom, I swiped his pint glass into a Ziploc bag. The results from the lab came back 4 days later. David Morrison and Sarah, 0.0% David Morrison and Michael, 0.00% Brian Caldwell and Sarah, 99.97% Brian Caldwell and Michael, 99.98%. I called my brother Tom. He was the only one left. He sat in my office and read the reports. Then we burn it all down, he said quietly. I hired Robert Griffin, a shark of a divorce attorney. I told him I wanted Jennifer to have nothing. I wanted the kids out of the will. I wanted my life back. But the PI found something even darker. He caught Jennifer and her sister Carol meeting at Waterfront Park. Carol was panicking. I changed the blood types, Jen. If he goes to the board, I lose my license. I go to jail. Rick then found evidence of forged medical reports. Michael had been creating a paper trail for months. Fake evaluations on hospital letterhead, saying I was showing signs of early onset dementia. They were building a cage for me. I confronted Carol first. I showed up at her house and spread the DNA results on her table like a winning poker hand. She crumbled. She admitted everything. Jennifer had known since the beginning. The kids had known since 2013. They'd been laughing at me for 12 years. I went to Waterfront Park and watched a father teach his daughter to ride a bike. I cried for the first time in 38 years. Not because I lost a wife, but because I realized I never had a family. I was just the host for a group of parasites. But then I got a call from a woman named Diane Caldwell, Brian's wife. I've known for 5 years, she told me over coffee. I have bank statements. Brian's been sending Jennifer $42,000 a year of our money. I have a post-nup that says if he cheats again, I get $7.5 million. Let's combine our evidence. We did. We filed for divorce on the same day. I invited Jennifer and Brian to a celebration dinner in a private room at the Heathman. When they walked in, they thought they were getting a payout. Instead, I laid out the DNA tests, the letters, and the audio recordings of them planning to put me in a home. 38 years, I said, my voice like ice. You coached our children to lie to me. You plan to steal my business. Jennifer, you'll get the bare minimum Oregon law requires. Brian, Diane is taking your $7 million, and I'm going to the medical board. Jennifer sobbed. I loved you, David. I just couldn't lose the life we had. You didn't love me, I said. You loved my paycheck. Get out. I cut off the kids' phones. I took back the BMW I bought Michael. I removed them from my health insurance. When Michael emailed me saying they had legal rights to my estate, I forwarded it to my lawyer with a cease and desist. Brian tried to take his own life. He survived, but I didn't visit him. I didn't feel anything. Months later, Sarah reached out. She was pregnant. She sent me a 3-page letter. No excuses, just pure accountability. She admitted she was a coward. She said she was in therapy. Michael followed suit, showing me his 90-day sobriety chip and a notarized document waiving any claim to my money. I went to the hospital when Emma Rose was born. I held that tiny baby's hand and felt a flicker of something that wasn't rage. She's beautiful, Sarah, I said. I'm 63 now. I've lost a family, but I've found the truth. Thompson HVAC is thriving, and I spend my weekends woodworking. I'm building a bookshelf for Tom. It's slow work, but every joint is real. Forgiveness isn't a single choice, it's a daily one. I'm letting them earn it. But for the first time, I'm living a life that isn't a lie. And that is the best revenge of all. If you've stuck with me this far, tell me. If you discovered your whole life was a lie after 40 years, would you walk away or would you burn it all down?